Okay, today we're doing Emerson, Lake and Palmer Trilogy. It was released on June 23rd, 1972, just 3 weeks after Pink Floyd's Obscured by Clouds. Trilogy is 9 songs, 42 minutes, produced by Greg Lake. And by the way, he does a great job as a producer, Greg Lake. You never hear that an ELP album ran over budget or took 2 years to make. And all these ELP records sound excellent quality wise. The songs are tight, arrangements, playing, mix, the spatial arrangement of the music, etc. This album in particular, the mix seems to be solid with the drums. The drums are mixed perfectly. Everything's right. So kudos to Greg Lake. I don't mean just this album, but all the ELP albums that Greg Lake produced are like that. Just spot on. Okay, I also read on Wikipedia that they did a lot of studio overdubs for this album, which makes some of the songs difficult to play live, especially the last song, Bolero. That's too bad, but it says to me that they had the time in the studio to do that, so they must have had a good budget and or time to play with. And reminds me of Kiss. Kiss talked about in Kiss Story how they had extra time on Dress to Kill, so they layered in many acoustic guitar parts on the songs in the style of Bachman-Turner Overdrive. At least that's what Paul Stanley said, for additional padding and clarity and expression in each of the songs. And you get some of that here. It makes for a more interesting listen, I'll say. The album cover is The Boys. You can see here. By the way, this is one of these cardboard sleeves, so it's not a jewel case. But this is a painting by Hypnosis. If you think back to Tarkus or the very first album, which is self-titled debut album, it's just got a bird on it, like a white dove or something. And Tarkus has the painting of the Tarkus machine, the armadillo tank guy. This is also a painting, but it's a painting of the band, okay? And they wanted to be on the cover. So yeah, let me think. I stared at pictures of the band. I think this is Emerson and this is Lake and this is Palmer. I think. It doesn't really look like them perfectly, but yeah, I think that's Palmer right there. That looks like Palmer, and that looks like Lake to me. So, let's see what else. This album, Trilogy. I'm digging deeper into the music than Pictures at an Exhibition, which is mostly a recreation of Russian symphony music. So, I mainly looked at Chordify.net while I listened to the album, but I found it's hard to find ELP sheet music anywhere. So I'll just say that before I get into it. All right, are you guys ready? Let's just do it. Track 1 is The Endless Enigma, Part 1. It's written by Lake and Emerson, and it's 6 minutes and 44 seconds. It sounds like it starts with a heartbeat and then some like whistling, and around 50-second mark, you hear the organ for the first time. The bass kicks in around 1 minute 45 seconds, and that's about when the song gets rolling. You hear the lead melody on keys come in around the 2-minute mark. The Endless Enigma is in the key of D flat, according to Chordify.net, which is an unusual key for any song. Musicnotes.com shows a different. So I already found some disagreements, but musicnotes.com shows 4 sharps and 3 flats in the key signatures. So it changes from E major changing to E flat major. So E, D, just think of E and D flat. That's 2 steps down. So I didn't sit there with the piano and try to figure out. But I just wanted to point out there's some disagreement in how people score this. I'm sure only Emerson and Lake actually know. I'm just kidding. It's 83 beats per minute, The Endless Enigma, Part 1, and generally in 4/4 time. Like I said, there's an instrumental introduction from the beginning to 2 minutes and 35 seconds. And then that's when the verse kicks in. And Greg Lake, let me just turn this up right here. Let's go. The verse says, "Why do you stare? Do you think that I care?" It's about a 12-bar verse with time signature changes. When Greg Lake starts to sing the verses, it's in a quiet voice, before giving away to his strong, normal Greg Lake voice. And then the chorus, I've seen paupers as kings, puppets on strings. And then the chorus goes on. And then the way the chorus ends is, please, please, please open your eyes is the best. To me, that's the best line of the song. He's like, please, please, please open your, that's the grand part of the song. And then the fourth part of the song, you have the introduction, the verse, the chorus. The outro is Greg Lake singing, I've seen paupers as kings, puppets on strings, da 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 da, da 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 da. And then after that, there's a fifth part of the song. There's a big piano jam solo. We'll call it a solo that starts around the 5-minute 40-second mark, and it segues perfectly into track 2. So before we get to track 2, the Endless Enigma Part 1 ends. The song arrangement is a verse, chorus, outro. And we seamlessly segue perfectly into track 2, Fugue, written by Keith Emerson. It's 1 minute and 55 seconds. Fugue is a short tune played on what sounds like a piano. It's in the key of C major, according to Chordify.net, and it's 200 beats per minute in 4/4 time. It's an instrumental. Fugue seamlessly rolls into the next track, which is track 3. Track 3 is the Endless Enigma Part 2. It's 2 minutes and 1 second. It's in the key of G flat major, according to sheetmusicnow.com, which I think it's reputable, very reputable site. If you want to go check that out. There's 6 flats in the key signature. 6 flats. I've never seen that before. So G flat major. It's moderately fast tempo again. Sheetmusicnow.com has it 9/8 time, changing to 7/8 time, and then back to 9/8 time. So just good luck counting it out in time when you're listening to it. It's impossible for me without sitting there holding the sheet music, reading it. But I'll say this about the Endless Enigma. The introduction is 48 seconds. The verse, each part was played, though the play was not shown. Everyone came, but they all sat alone. And then the outro is, now that it's done, I've begun to see the reason why I'm here. It's just a real short 2-minute track. It's like an extension of the Endless Enigma Part 1 and Fugue. Or Fugue. Anyway, Part 2 is just the verse and an outro. Track 4 on Trilogy is From the Beginning, written by Greg Lake. It is 4 minutes and 13 seconds. Whenever I hear the song, I usually get fooled into thinking it's Yes Roundabout, but it's not. It's really close. It's the acoustic intro that sounds like Steve Howe on Roundabout, if you can imagine that, how that sounds. I think they used to occasionally play From the Beginning on WAPL out of Appleton, Wisconsin. That's what I was listening to in my high school, early college days. So it's a fairly popular song and even charted in America. It's in the key of A minor. Chordify.net and musicnotes.com both show A minor. And it's a bright acoustic rock tempo and 4/4 time. The verses, there might have been things I missed, but don't be unkind. It don't mean I'm blind. 16 bars. But Greg Lake, he's the lyricist for ELP. This guy. He's pretty good at rhyming, and it's like a special gift, I would say. The chorus is, you see it's all clear, you were meant to be here from the beginning. It's an 8-bar chorus. And then an outro. There's no singing or vocals in the outro. It started at 2:14. There's a guitar solo, and then there's an organ solo at 3:15. About 60 bars-ish, about 60 bars of jamming and noodling. And I'll just say this, I like the way Greg Lake plays guitar on all these ELP songs when he chooses to. I read an interview on the King Crimson website where he was saying, he's a guitar player first. That's how he met Robert Fripp. And he chose to play bass later. So he's primarily known as a bass player, but he's a guitar player. And a good one, I would say. Anyway, From the Beginning, verse. The song arrangement is a verse, chorus, outro. So a simple song. You could even say it's a radio play pop song. Track 5 is The Sheriff. It's 3 minutes and 20 seconds. It's credited to Emerson and Lake. Carl Palmer, here's what's notable. Carl Palmer says shit at the beginning of it. You could barely hear it, but and then it's 26 seconds of drums at the beginning. The Sheriff is in the key of A major. It's in 4/4 time. The verse is Big Kid Josie rode away in the sunset, covered sky. It's a 16-bar verse, and then the bridge is, the nights got so damn cold he couldn't stand the pace. And then, it's 16 bars, and then there's a break after that, like a bridge break, I guess you could call it. It's 1 minute and 47 seconds, sounds like a mini Tarkus kind of a jam, and it ends at 2 minutes and 25 seconds, so about 37 seconds total of jamming in the break. And then the outro is a frantic sounding synth playing, typical Emerson. It's the song arrangement for The Sheriff is verse, verse, bridge break, verse, and outro, and that's The Sheriff. Track 6 is Hoedown, which is taken from The Rodeo, which is a big piece written by Aaron Copland, probably Copland. There's no E in it. It's 3 minutes and 43 seconds. When I hear this, so whenever I hear this, I think beef. It's What's for Dinner, which, if you can remember back, I should find the link to that ad campaign, and I'll put it in the description. Well, this is the song. It's basically Keith Emerson showing off on keyboards. Okay, it's in the key of D major, and it's 143 beats per minute, and it's in 4/4 time. And for that 3 minutes and 43 seconds, it's an instrumental. He's basically doing a fun cover of that fairly famous song. We'll just put it at that. Hoedown does the whole. I know it's kind of a fun song from that Emerson recreated. Okay, track 7 is Trilogy. It's 8 minutes and 53 seconds. It's credited to Emerson and Lake, and it's the title track to the album. See, Trilogy. It's in the key of B major, 107 beats per minute. There's a bunch of parts to this song, so hold on a second. We'll just go through all of them. The instrumental is at the beginning is an introduction to the song. It's like 31 seconds, and then after that it goes into the first verse. The verses are like, I've tried to mend the love that ended. They're 8-bar verses. And then the bridge, I've sent this letter hoping I'll reach your hand. That's the bridge part. It takes 1 minute and 10 seconds to sing the first 2 verses and the bridge. So that gets you all the way up to 1 minute and 41 seconds to 2 minutes and 10 seconds, which is like an instrumental break in the song of about 20, just short of 30 seconds, 29-second break. After that is a keyboard solo, which starts at 2:16 and it runs all the way to 5:33. This is just a really long instrumental part of the song. Keith Emerson is playing on the high end of the piano through the entire break and solo. And the time signature changes, so at the 4-minute mark, it's like a bum-ba-dum type beat. And then Palmer had to be steady to bang that whole section out, starting there. And at 5-minute mark, it changes again, and Lake and Palmer are driving hard to keep time. It's just a real big jam. And then there's another instrumental break from 5 minutes and 58 seconds to 7 minutes and 55 seconds. So almost just short of 2 minutes. And it's similar to that first, it's not the same, but it's similar to that other break. But this is that's how they did to stretch this song out to get it to 8 minutes and 53 seconds. The song arrangement is a verse, bridge, the first break including the keyboard solo, and an interlude, and then the second break, which has a second keyboard solo, and then verse, break, keyboard solo, verse, outro. So they just kept adding more verses and more breaks and solo opportunities, and to allow Emerson to have fun with this song and to stretch it out. It's a big song for them. Track 8 is The Living Sin. It's 3 minutes and 12 seconds. It's a shorter tune. It's credited to all three of them. Palmer's listed first, and then Lake and Emerson. This song has some really interesting vocals in it from the very beginning. And the song starts with a nice keyboard introduction, and then Greg Lake sings the first verse in a really low voice. It's in the key of A minor, and it's 158 beats per minute, which is a very fast tempo in 4/4 time. The verse is, "Will you stand up or will you freeze? That savage woman make you please." It's a 24 bar verse, but it's a real fast tempo. And the chorus is, "Can't you see through she's going to realize the way to sound you." Lake sort of shouts out that first line, okay? And then there's a post-chorus, or, this one-liner that's after the chorus. "Finally ground you." The chorus and pre-chorus together are about 10 bars. And there are some time changes in there, too. The bridge, or I guess, is it really a bridge? Maybe it's just like the next part of the song, "Living Sin." But Lake screams out this part. Sullen, never cured by one night lover. Tell you stories of a meeting with a younger brother. The bridge, or whatever that part is, it's a 16 bar. I think we could call it a bridge. And then the outro. The outro, Greg Lake sings, "Took you, never saw you coming, hooked you up with Coca-Cola, cunning, nice and slippery." It's a 12 bar outro, plus some fancy playing after that for about 20 seconds, starting at the 2 minute and 50-second mark. So about 22 seconds to get to the end. Living Sin, the song structure is a verse, chorus, that one-liner, post-chorus, bridge, chorus, outro, and that's Living Sin. Track 9 is Abaddon's Bolero, written by Emerson, and it's the epic track of the Trilogy album. It's 8 minutes and 10 seconds. This song, it has Moog synth, Mellotron, Hammond organ, but it doesn't have vocals. This song has a dot thing going on, sort of like King Crimson's The Devil's Triangle at the end of Wake Up Poseidon. They're not the same, but it's a good working reference and comparison. The both start slowly with a rhythmic death march and then build up in intensity and volume. And at 5 minutes and 4 seconds, Abaddon's Bolero gets exciting, almost joyful and happy in a grandiose and a celebratory way, whereas in the middle of The Devil's Triangle by Crimson, there's a scary horn and you know you're about to get messed up, because that's one of the different, like, The Devil's Triangle gets ominous and scary. So by comparison and contrast, Bolero is like Triangle, and it's worth a discussion to compare, but they dramatically change directions in the middle, where, Bolero gets really excited and joyful, and The Devil's Triangle is kind of ugly and menacing and scary. It's scary. Abaddon's Bolero is in the key of A major, and it's 1 minute 30 seconds, 130 beats per minute. Just rewind it and replay that. It's 130 beats per minute, 4/4 time instrumental, and that is Trilogy. Yeah, a kind of fun album to listen to, actually. In summary, the sales for Trilogy are 543,000, which is a gold. That makes it gold, which is pretty good. That's a lot. It's a lot of sales. That's good for number 67 in 1972. Which, think of all the big albums that came out in 72. It's the number selling album for ELP. It's good. It's good for number 6 selling for ELP, I should say. ProgArchives.com gives it a 4.4, 4.14. Man, I can't even talk today. It's going to be a rough day. 4.14 for ProgArchives.com. That's insanely high. I mean, that's really high. I'm not sure it's worth that, but maybe it is. AllMusic.com gives it 4 stars. And the new Rolling Stone guide gives it 3 stars, which is, the 1983 edition. It's pretty good. like I said at the beginning, they do a lot of overdubs, so it's not something they can go out there and play live a lot. But not without augmentation or reinforcement or tape loops or pedals like Rush did. But like I said, it's fun to listen to. So yeah, let's wrap it up. That's Trilogy. Yeah, I promised a better review, so I gave you one. What's next up on the channel? I'll do. I'm gonna start Chicago 5, and it's not their best album. And then after that will be Close to the Edge by Yes. All right. Thanks for listening. You can leave your comments. I like reading your comments. And your comments always get me hyped to do more of these. And you can please like, if you like this video, hit the like button. And if you want to subscribe, you can subscribe. I'll do more ELPs down the road. And I'll just keep going, Thanks, everybody.